The morning began like something out of a greeting card. June's sunlight spilled through our bedroom window like it was auditioning for a rom-com. Birds chirped. The coffee brewed on a timer. And my wife, Madeline, was humming in the kitchen, barefoot, flipping pancakes in her favorite Kiss the Cook apron. Our 10th anniversary. 10 years of marriage. A full decade of shared dreams, inside jokes, and holiday photos we pretended weren't filtered. And that day, she was glowing. Genuinely glowing. Not just her usual warm smile, the woman had that freshly in love sparkle that makes you wonder if she's planning a surprise trip to Paris or hiding a puppy in the laundry room. Happy anniversary, babe, she said as I walked in, still half asleep. She pressed a kiss to my cheek. Don't make any plans tonight. Just be ready by 7. And wear that navy suit I like. I raised an eyebrow. Should I be worried? She smirked. Only about how amazing I'm about to make your night. Now, listen. When a woman who's forgotten your birthday 2 years in a row suddenly remembers your wedding anniversary down to the hour and is giddy about dinner plans, that sets off quiet alarms in a man's soul. Not red flags. Not quite. More like yellow ones. The kind you get during a soccer match, warning you that you've pushed your luck but haven't been kicked off the field just yet. Still, I let it go. Why spoil a good surprise? Maybe she was making up for the rough patch we'd hit 6 months ago. Maybe she just wanted to feel like newlyweds again. Maybe, I thought, this is the start of things getting better. I spent the day bouncing between meetings and pretending to be productive, while secretly wondering if she'd booked a fancy hotel, or one of those dinner cruises on the bay where rich people toast champagne over oysters. Madeline had always been classy. That was one of the things I fell for, her effortless elegance. She could make a paperclip look designer. When 7 o'clock came, I was suited up and standing by the front door, cologne dabbed, shoes shined, nerves wired with anticipation. She came down the stairs in a red dress that stopped time. Hair curled, lipstick dangerous. You clean up well, she said with a wink. I opened the car door for her. Old habits. We drove in silence for the first few minutes. The kind of silence that hums with secrets. You're being very quiet, I said eventually. She turned, smiling. I just want tonight to be unforgettable. She wasn't lying. We pulled into the parking lot of an upscale Italian place downtown. Candlelit tables. Violinist in the corner. It had ambience written all over it. The hostess led us toward a cozy booth in the back, but just as I started to sit down, Madeline touched my arm. Actually, she said, we're with someone. Someone? She motioned across the room. A man stood to wave us over. He looked familiar. Vaguely. But too tan. Too white-toothed. The kind of man who moisturizes aggressively and uses words like alpha in non-ironic ways. Probably named something like Chase or Brent. We walked over. And as he reached out to shake my hand with the confidence of a guy who's either selling you a timeshare or wrecking your home, Madeline said the words that snapped every piece of calm I'd clung to all day. Logan, this is Travis. You've heard me mention him before. I had. In passing. As her project manager. As the guy who helped reorganize the office. As the man who, apparently, would be joining us for our anniversary dinner. I blinked. Once. Twice. And smiled. The kind of smile that says, I'm not going to make a scene. Yet. Travis, I said, gripping his hand harder than necessary. Pleasure. Madeline sat between us. She poured the wine herself. And so began the strangest dinner of my life. You ever try to cut into a filet mignon while your wife's potential boyfriend makes jokes about synergy and work-life alignment? Across the table? It's like trying to eat dinner while someone tightens a noose around your dignity, slowly, politely, and with a smile. Travis, yep, that was his real name, because of course it was exactly the kind of guy who drinks imported sparkling water like it's a personality trait. Hair slicked back. Cufflinks with his initials. He talked with his hands and used phrases like circle back in casual conversation. I counted no fewer than 4 mentions of his investment portfolio before the appetizers even landed. Madeline, meanwhile, was glowing, laughing at his jokes a little too hard, nodding like she was at a TED Talk. And every now and then, she'd glance at me, that nervous glance women give when they're waiting to see how long it takes before you get it. I got it. I just hadn't decided how loud I wanted the crash to be. So Logan, Travis said as he cut into his salmon, delicately, surgically, like it offended him. Madeline tells me you're a structural engineer. That must be grounded work. Grounded work. Now, a lesser man might have flipped the table right then and there. But I'm not that guy. No, I took a sip of my wine, Chianti, overpriced, and smiled. Yeah, I said. I build things that don't collapse when you lean on them. Novel concept, I know. He laughed. A little too loud. Madeline winced. You're funny, Travis said. Didn't expect that. I nodded slowly. I get that a lot. Especially from men who don't know they're in danger yet. He blinked. I smiled wider. Madeline cleared her throat. So, Travis and I wanted to talk to you about something. Here we go? Okay, I said, setting my knife down. Shoot. She looked at Travis. He gave her the nod. The go on, babe. Tear off the Band-Aid nod. I think we've outgrown the version of marriage we started with, Madeline said. Her voice soft, rehearsed, like she was reading from a therapist's playbook. And I think it's time to evolve. Evolve, I repeated. Yes, she said. You and I, we've been good. But Travis and I have developed a connection, too. And I think we owe it to ourselves to explore it honestly. Travis chimed in. No one wants to hurt you, man. We're just being authentic. Authentic. My eye twitched. Authentic, I said. You're sitting across from me on my anniversary dinner, eating the steak I paid for, telling me you've been authentic with my wife. He raised his hands, peace sign style. It's just honesty, bro. We're all adults here. I folded my napkin and placed it gently on the table. Then I looked at Madeline. Tell me something, I said. How long? She didn't even blink. 5 months. 5 months. I nodded. And tonight was what? My prize for taking it so well. No, she said. Tonight was closure. Closure. Served with a side of bruschetta. I stood up, reached for my coat. Where are you going? She asked. I said, adjusting my collar. It's time I evolved too. She reached for my arm, but I stepped back. No hard feelings, Travis. I added with a tight smile. I just hope you like Kiani. It pairs well with disappointment. And I walked out. Calm. Steady. Because you don't win by flipping tables. You win by flipping the script. And trust me, the next part of the story, that's when the real game begins. Funny thing about betrayal, it never hits all at once. It seeps in, like cold air through a cracked window. You don't notice it until your bones start to shiver and you realize the house you trusted to keep you warm has been letting the storm in all along. I didn't go home that night. I drove. No destination. No music. Just the hum of the engine and the weight of 5 months of lies pressing down on my chest. Madeline and Travis. 5 months. That meant Christmas. That meant New Year's. That meant the week she cried about being burnt out while I massaged her feet and told her everything was going to be okay. Turns out, she was fine. Just tired from juggling 2 men like a magician who forgot one of the balls is made of glass. I ended up at a diner on the edge of town. The kind with sticky menus and a waitress named Donna who calls everyone Han. I sat there with a cup of bad coffee and stared at my wedding ring, twisting it like it might turn back time. At 2 a.m., I went home. She was there. Of course she was. Curled up in bed, pretending to sleep. I didn't say a word. Just went into the guest room and stared at the ceiling until sunrise. The next morning, she was already gone. Early meeting, her note said. Right. Probably comparing Google calendars with Travis, wondering when to make it Facebook official. That's when I decided I wasn't just going to move on. I was going to know everything. Because if you're going to bury a marriage, you should at least read the autopsy report. So I started looking. First stop, her laptop. She was lazy about passwords, bless her. I guessed it on the 3rd try, our anniversary date. Oh, the irony. She deleted most of their emails. Sloppy work. But people forget the trash bin exists. And in that digital graveyard, I found gold. Subject lines like, can't stop thinking about last night. You made me feel seen. Wish he looked at me the way you do. Oof. That last one hit like a brick to the ribs. Then came the calendar invites. Strategy lunch, Travis. Every Wednesday. Every single Wednesday. I opened her cloud storage. Photos. There they were. Selfies in his car. Candids at some cabin in Big Sur, one I thought she visited alone to clear her head. Him behind her, arms around her waist, grinning like the wolf who stole the farmer's prize sheep. And then, the final nail, a message from her best friend, Olivia. Does Logan suspect anything? Nope. He still thinks we're working late. Poor guy. Honestly, I feel bad sometimes. Sometimes. I stared at the screen, heart pounding so loud it echoed in my ears. And that's when the nausea turned to clarity. I wasn't heartbroken. I was done. Not defeated. Not destroyed. Just done playing the fool in a story I didn't write. And like any good story, I figured it was time for a rewrite, starting with a little project I called Operation Closure. No violence, no screaming matches, no revenge porn or social media explosions. Just a plan. Sharp, silent, surgical. And it started with one phone call. "Hey, man," I said when he picked up. "It's Logan." "Yeah, weird call, I know. But I was wondering, you still do private investigations?" The voice on the other end paused, then chuckled. "I do if it's interesting." "Oh," I said, smiling. "It's interesting. Private investigators aren't like they are in movies. They don't wear trench coats or carry flasks or lurk in the shadows like noir poets with trust issues. No, they're more like retired IT guys with cameras that cost more than your car." Enter Marty Ross. I knew Marty from back when I did a structural survey for a firm that subcontracted his surveillance services. He was quiet, methodical, and had the fashion sense of an abandoned coat rack, but the man could find dirt in a desert. We met at a quiet park under the illusion of a morning jog. I wore sweats and carried an old water bottle. He showed up in jeans, a windbreaker, and shoes that hadn't run since the Bush administration. "So," he said, nodding toward the bench, "you want her followed?" "I want her documented," I replied. "Where she goes, who she sees, what they do. I don't need audio. I don't want photos of the obvious. Just proof." He raised an eyebrow. "Court proof?" "No," I said. "Conscience proof." Marty pulled out a leather-bound notepad. "Name, Madeline Grace Parker." He scribbled. "Date of birth, October 9th, 1987. "And the other guy?" I exhaled. "Travis Nathan Hale." He whistled. "You married a woman with class, and she's messing around with a guy who sounds like a mid-level fantasy villain." I cracked a smile. "You're not wrong." He nodded. "Give me 10 days. Day 1, nothing. Day 2, she worked late. Again, no surprise. Day 3, I started sleeping like a soldier, one ear open, one eye twitching at every buzz from my phone. Not because I was nervous, because I was ready. Day 4, Marty sent a text. "Got something. We'll send full drop in the morning." I didn't sleep that night. At 6:48 a.m., my inbox lit up with a link. Private server. Password protected. I typed it in and held my breath. Photos. One of her and Travis at a wine bar on the other side of town. They weren't touching, but they didn't need to. Body language said everything. Her leaning in. Him brushing her hair back with 2 fingers. The kind of intimacy you can't fake. Next photo. Him handing her a key. Her smile? That wasn't a happy smile. That was an arrival smile. Like a marathon runner crossing a finish line made of broken vows and dry champagne. More followed. Hotel lobby. A lunch spot 2 blocks from his condo. A gas station where they kissed through his car window like teenagers with too much audacity and not enough respect. There was even a receipt. Same date she told me she was working remotely. 2 entrees. 1 dessert. A bottle of $84 wine. She used our joint credit card. The irony would be funny if it didn't sting like a paper cut across my soul. Marty called that afternoon. "She's clever," he said. "Doesn't meet him at his place more than once a week. Usually uses public spots. Keeps her phone out of sight. But here's the kicker." He paused, and I could hear the smirk in his voice. "She's not his only project." That silenced me. "I saw him last night," Marty continued. "After she left, he drove to another restaurant. Met a brunette in a short leather coat. Same routine. Laughs, wine, hands too close to places that used to be sacred. This guy? He's not just a homewrecker, he's a hobbyist." I blinked. "You're sure?" "Logan, I took video. You want it?" "No," I said. "I want to use it." Over the next week, I stopped playing husband and started playing chess. Step 1. I made copies of everything, photos, receipts, dates, all cross-referenced and cataloged like I was preparing a legal exhibit. Not because I planned to sue her. I just wanted the facts to be undeniable. Step 2. I transferred half the money from our joint account into a separate one, my name only. All legal, all traceable, all fair. Step 3. I visited her mother. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why go to the mother-in-law? Because Barbara Parker believed I was the best thing that ever happened to her daughter. And I needed her to know what her little legacy was doing on Wednesday nights. She opened the door in her classic pearls and cashmere combo. "Logan, what a surprise." I gave her the envelope and said, "I'm not here for tea, Barb, but you'll want to sit down for this." When Madeline got home that night, I was calm. Too calm. The kind of calm that says, you should be worried, but you're too arrogant to notice. Hey, she said, toeing off her shoes. How was your day? Productive, I replied. Yours? Busy. She kissed me on the cheek. We're onboarding 3 new interns. I had to show them around. I nodded. Interns can be a lot, especially when you're juggling everything else. She didn't flinch. You know how it is. Oh, I knew. Dinner was polite. Conversation shallow. After she went to bed, I sat in the living room and stared at our wedding photo. The one where we're both laughing in the middle of the vows because the officiant's mic died and she whispered, "This is so us." Turns out, she was right. This is so us, only I didn't realize us came with footnotes and fine print. But I wasn't angry anymore. Just focused. Focused on the next move. And trust me, it was going to sting. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. I wasn't looking to serve dinner. I was setting the whole table. That Friday, I told Madeline I had a weekend work retreat. A structural inspection project out of state, I said. She nodded, barely looking up from her phone. Travis, probably. Maybe confirming brunch plans. Maybe telling him how easy it was to lie to me. She said, drive safe, kissed my cheek, and went back to texting. I left the house, turned the corner, and parked 2 blocks down. Marty picked me up in his weathered Toyota Camry with enough camera equipment in the trunk to qualify as a low-budget spy movie. You ready for this? He asked. I've never been more ready, I said. Saturday morning, we watched from a nondescript hatchback, tucked across from Travis's luxury condo. Madeline pulled in at 10:02 a.m. Her hair was curled. She wore that navy trench coat I bought her 3 anniversaries ago. Funny how things you once chose with love end up in the wardrobe of betrayal. She's punctual, Marty said, jotting notes. I trained her well, I muttered. At 10:04, she entered his building. At 10:07, the brunette showed up. Different woman. Same move. Same coat from a different man's closet, probably. Repeat offender, Marty noted. Hope he's good at multitasking, I said, trying to keep my stomach from turning. It wasn't just the cheating anymore. It was the pattern. The ease. Travis wasn't some one-off mistake. He was a lifestyle choice. A one-man demolition crew with a jawline. By 11:30, Madeline left. By noon, the brunette did too. Like clockwork. Travis, I realized, wasn't building a relationship. He was running a rotation. Sunday night, I struck. She came home smelling like cinnamon and deception. Said she and Olivia went to a spa downtown. Olivia must have been invisible, because the only footage Marty got was Madeline, a half-empty wine bottle, and Travis teaching her how to play backgammon shirtless. At 9:14 p.m., as she was brushing her teeth, I slipped an envelope under her side of the bed. Not hidden. Not flashy. Just there. At 9:36, I heard her call out, "Logan?" I didn't answer. 2 minutes later, she appeared in the doorway. Envelope in hand. "What is this?" she asked. "You tell me," I replied, not looking up from the book I wasn't reading. Her eyes flicked down to the first photo. Silence. A few seconds passed. She shuffled through the rest. Receipts, timestamps, screenshots, a neat little portfolio of infidelity. I can explain. I shut the book and met her eyes. No, you can't. Her mouth opened. Closed. She stepped forward. "Logan, please." "This isn't a fight, Madeline," I said, calm as winter. "This is a reckoning." Her eyes flashed. "So what? You've been spying on me?" That's her idea of a mature response. I stood. I guess we both started living secret lives. Mine just a better lighting. She paced the room, panic sinking in. "Okay, so what now? You want a divorce?" "Eventually," I said. "But not yet." She froze. "What do you mean, not yet?" I walked to my desk and opened a drawer, pulling out a second envelope. "This," I said, handing it to her, "is what I want." She opened it. "Read the first page." Her lips parted. "You want me to sign over the house?" "Correct." "And agree to zero claim on my assets?" I nodded. "In exchange, I don't tell your family, or your friends, or your company's HR department that you've been having an inter-office affair with a man who's also currently seeing at least 2 other women, one of whom appears to be married." Her eyes widened. "You wouldn't." "I don't bluff, Maddie. Never have. But I'm offering you an exit. Clean. Quiet. Dignified. And if I say no?" I shrugged. "Then I give everyone the truth. And you can explain it however you want, between job interviews." She stared at me like she didn't recognize me. That was fine. Neither did I. Monday morning, she was gone by 7 o'clock. Left the signed papers on the kitchen island. No note. No apology. Just a coffee cup with a lipstick stain and her initials on the lid. Classy to the last. I filed the paperwork by noon, but I wasn't done, because there was one last domino left. Travis. Now, I could have confronted him, but I liked subtlety, and discomfort, and poetic irony. So instead, I sent packages. The first to his office, anonymous, discreet. Inside, a photo of Madeline and the brunette, one after the other, time-stamped within the same 24-hour period. The second to the brunette's place. A different photo, one of Travis and Madeline, hand in hand, walking into that hotel. The third went to HR at his firm. That one was labeled whistleblower documentation, potential conflict of interest. Inside were receipts showing he was using company funds for dates labeled as client dinners. 3 packages. 3 small doses of truth. And then, I waited. By Thursday, Travis's LinkedIn profile was unavailable. By Friday, Madeline called me. I didn't answer. By Saturday, her mother called me. I answered that one. Logan, Barbara said. I am so sorry. I know. Is there anything I can do? Yeah, I said. You can take down the framed wedding photo in your hallway. It doesn't belong there anymore. She sniffled. Understood. That night, I sat on the back porch with a beer in the silence. Not sadness. Not victory. Just peace. Because the truth? The house didn't feel haunted anymore. It just felt empty. And for the first time in a long time. That was a good thing. Revenge, as satisfying as it can be, doesn't always tie things up with a neat little bow. Sometimes it sets off aftershocks, quiet ones, that rattle the foundation long after the dust settles. I thought I had controlled the blast. But what I didn't account for was the debris. Monday morning came with a phone call. Unknown number. Logan Parker? A soft voice asked. Speaking. This is Sarah Langston from Dempsey and Graves Law. I represent Mr. Travis Hale. I chuckled. Tell Travis I don't accept flowers. She hesitated. This is in regard to potential defamation. Mr. Hale claims your recent actions have interfered with his employment and personal relationships. I sipped my coffee. You mean the ones he built on other people's beds? Mr. Parker. Ms. Langston, I interrupted, calm as stone. Tell Travis I have time-stamped evidence, receipts, GPS logs, and private investigator reports. If he wants to play in the mud, I brought waiters. A long pause. Then, I'll pass that along. Please do, I said, hanging up. That was the moment it hit me. Not regret, but awareness. Like a boxer who lands a perfect hook and feels the crack in his glove. You get one clean punch. Everything after that, just mess. By Thursday, Madeline had moved out. No goodbye, no text, just an empty closet and an echo in the hallway. She left the key in the mailbox. Symbolic, I suppose. She always did like drama wrapped in politeness. I found her scarf hanging on the back of a chair. Still smelled like her, floral, expensive, and a little dishonest. I tossed it in the donation bin without a second thought. I'd started sleeping again. Real sleep. The kind you can't fake with melatonin and lies. But not everything was so simple. Because Friday evening, the doorbell rang. And when I opened it, there she was. Not Madeline. Her. Olivia. Best friend. Maid of honor. Co-conspirator. She stood on my porch in a black trench coat, arms crossed, face tight, with something between guilt and fury. We need to talk, she said. I think we passed that exit 3 lies ago. I replied, already closing the door. She stopped it with her foot. Logan, please. Now, Olivia and I had never been close. She was one of those people who smiles through her teeth and compliments your furniture while judging your curtains. But that night, she looked human, cracked even. I let her in. She walked past me like she owned the place, habit, probably, and sat on the edge of the couch like it might bite her. What do you want, Olivia? She sighed. I didn't know. I blinked. Come again. I didn't know it had gone that far. I knew she was talking to him. Texting, maybe. I thought it was innocent. I swear. I leaned on the kitchen counter. Innocent doesn't survive 5 months in a hotel key. I know, she said softer now. She lied to me, too. And yet, I said, she managed to name drop you in every alibi she gave me. Olivia looked down. I was the scapegoat. She used me. Then congratulations, I said. We've got matching scars. She looked up, eyes rimmed red. She's falling apart, Logan. Not my problem. She's talking about quitting her job, moving to Portland. Says she wants to start over. Portland sounds nice. Rain hides the shame. Olivia stood. You really don't care anymore? I thought about that. No, I said. I care differently now. I don't miss the woman I married. I just regret not seeing when she left. Olivia nodded. Then, after a long pause, you deserved better. Funny how people only say that after they help ruin the thing you deserved. Thanks, I said, but I'll settle for quiet. She walked to the door. Stopped. You know she still talks about the lake house? I raised an eyebrow. What about it? She says you were the best version of yourself there. That you were good to her. I chuckled. That version of me died the moment she let another man see her laugh the way I used to. Olivia blinked. If it means anything, I would have picked you. I looked her dead in the eyes. You did pick her. She left. That night, I pulled out the old photo album. Not the digital kind. The real one. Leather-bound. Dusty. Full of fingerprints and pretense. There we were. Madeline and me. Smiling under fireworks. Kissing in the snow. Dancing in the kitchen in socks and no rhythm. All eyes now. Or maybe they were real, once. Maybe we were real before the rot set in. It's hard to tell which memories are true and which ones were just well acted. I tore out the last photo. The most recent. Us on a beach in October. She's holding my hand. I'm looking at her. She's looking at her phone. I laughed. Not loud. Just a dry, quiet thing that belonged in a therapist's notes. Then I burned the page. Not out of spite. Not to forget. Just to make space. Sunday morning, I got a text from Marty. Travis is moving. Saw a U-Haul outside his condo. Word is, he got dropped from his firm. HR must have connected the dots. I replied. Tell him I said goodbye. He wrote back. You want me to keep watching? I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed. No. The show's over. Life after betrayal is strange. You expect rage. You expect breakdowns. What you don't expect is boredom. The kind that creeps in after the fireworks. After the confrontations and the fallout. It's just you, a quiet house, and too much time to think. I took a week off work. Told my boss I needed emotional recalibration. He nodded like he understood, though I doubt he did. Men don't talk about pain. We renovated into productivity. So I renovated. I repainted the guest room. Took apart the bed Madeline used to nap in when she worked from home. Replaced it with a bench press and a heavy bag. By the end of the week, I had sweat out the part of me that still missed her. I didn't want to move on. I wanted to move forward. I called my brother in Vermont, the one with too many kids and not enough time. We hadn't talked in months. He said, You sound different. I told him, I feel lighter. He laughed. So she was the anchor. I didn't deny it. One morning, I found a letter in the mailbox. Not from a lawyer. From her. No return address. Just my name on the front, in that looping handwriting she used on Christmas cards and apology notes. I almost threw it away. But curiosity has sharp claws. It read, Logan, by now I'm sure you've closed the door on me. Maybe even locked it, boarded it up, and burned the house down just to be sure I'm not inside. I deserve that. I want to say I'm sorry, but I know it's worthless. You gave me everything. I gave you half answers and tired eyes. I don't know who I became, or why I let myself drift. But I remember the way you looked at me, like I mattered more than the world. And I ruined that. I turned something rare into something replaceable. You were always the better person. You still are. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted to say, I see it now. All of it. Goodbye. Madeline. I read it once. Then again. Then I folded it up and slid it into the trash between a grocery coupon and a flyer for pest control. She wasn't wrong. I was the better person. But now, I wasn't just better. I was free. 2 months later, I found myself at a barbecue. A real one. Burgers, cold beer, people laughing like life hadn't tried to gut them from the inside out. I was invited by a guy at work. Elliot, the kind of man who always wore sunglasses on his head and called his grill a smoking rig. And that's where I met Claire. She was nothing like Madeline. No fake polish, no drama disguised as depth. She had ink-stained fingers from her graphic design studio, and a laugh that didn't sound like it was hiding anything. We talked about dumb stuff. Movies. Bad traffic. How cilantro tastes like soap. No sparks. No butterflies. Just comfort. The slow kind. The kind you don't have to chase. She didn't ask about Madeline. I didn't mention her. That night, I got home and stood in front of the bathroom mirror. Looked myself in the eyes. I didn't see a man who got cheated on anymore. I saw a man who rebuilt himself, brick by painful brick. And for the first time, I smiled. You want to know how it ends? Here's the truth. Travis moved to Arizona, got hired at a startup run by a friend from college. The kind of place where no one asks too many questions as long as the check clears. Madeline did move to Portland. She changed jobs, got bangs, probably told herself she was starting over. I heard she's doing yoga now. The flexible kind on the mat and morally. Me? I kept the house, repainted the kitchen, adopted a dog named Walter who snores louder than I do and hates vacuum cleaners with a passion. And Claire? We're still talking. Nothing serious. No pressure. Just two people walking side by side instead of one dragging the other behind. Some nights, I still think about the betrayal. Not with anger. With perspective. Madeline gave me pain, but she also gave me a second chance. She handed me the chisel I needed to carve out the man I forgot I could be. And that was the real revenge. Not screaming. Not public shaming. Not lawsuits or Facebook status updates. Just becoming someone better while they keep running in circles. So if you're wondering how it ends, it doesn't. It just continues. Without her. And that's the best ending I could have asked for. Logan.